Season 3 of The Mandalorian has just come to a close, and I thought now would be a great time to go ahead and rank every LEGO Star Wars Mandalorian set that has been made so far. We have 15 sets to go over, and no, I'm not going to be including the microfighters or the helmet sets. As always, remember that these are my opinions, and if you disagree with me, you can voice your opinions in the comments below. And I never usually say this, but if you are new, please consider subscribing, and let's go ahead and get on with the list. Starting off in our number 15 spot, which in my opinion is the worst Mandalorian set, and that is 75324 Dark Trooper Attack. This set was released in March of last year. It has 4 minifigures, it has 166 pieces, and it retailed for $35. Now I get that you do get 3 Dark Troopers in this set, which is very nice because it's kind of just like a big battle pack, and the Luke Skywalker minifigure is exclusive, although the build is pretty lackluster even from a playability standpoint, and the price is really just absurd. Now you do have to take into consideration that this set was affected by the LEGO price increases last year. Its original retail price was $30 and then it got bumped up to $35, but even at $30 I still think this was very overpriced. I think it should have been no more than $25. At best it should have been $20, but we know LEGO would never have done that. But since they kept it at the $30 price point, now $35, I think the best thing they should have done is just extend the hallway a little bit and make it a little bit more detailed. And again, you do get an exclusive Luke minifigure and 3 really nice Dark Troopers, which before this were only available in the Light Cruiser, which I'm pretty sure was a $160 set. So it is nice to get these figures on a cheaper level. It's not as cheap as it should be. I mean, $35 for 166 pieces, I just think the build should have been a little bit bigger. Moving on to our number 14 spot, we have 75299 Trouble on Tatooine. This set was released in January of 2021. It has 276 pieces, it includes 3 minifigures, and it retailed for $30. Now there's really not much to say about this set, as there's nothing bad with it. There are really only good things about this set. It's just there's nothing very special about it. I mean, it kind of just does what it's supposed to do, and that's that. You get 3 minifigures, none of them are exclusive, although you do get the Mandalorian, Grogu, and a Tusken Raider. And then you get a Tusken Raider HUD and a cool little Tusken Raider ballista that I actually think looks pretty neat. And then probably the best thing about this set is Mando's speeder. It definitely resembles a bounty hunter speeder, and you could use it in multiple ways. I mean, you could use it in mocks if you build mocks, or you could just enjoy it with this set. But other than that, there's really not much to say about this set. It just does what it's supposed to do, and it does it good. Moving on to our number 13 spot, we have 75254 ATST Raider. This was actually the first LEGO Mandalorian set being released in October of 2019. It has 4 minifigures, 2 of them are exclusive. It has 540 pieces, and it retailed for $50. So right off the bat, it obviously had a good price point, although I do have quite a few mixed feelings about this set. I think the minifigures are great, especially the 2 exclusive Raiders, as you can use them in mocks or use them to make other aliens. And then obviously you get Din Djarin and Cara Dune. And the ATST is probably one of the best LEGO ATSTs we've gotten, minus the painted legs obviously. And that's also kind of where I have mixed feelings about this set, because I never really liked the LEGO sets that were based off of original Star Wars vehicles with just different color schemes. For instance, like the Major Von Regs TIE Fighter from back in 2019, which was literally just a red TIE Interceptor, which I thought was just really weird, and it just feels out of place. And if you just have this up in your LEGO collection, I feel like it just looks irrelevant compared to all the other LEGO Star Wars sets. And then some other ones like the Resistance Y-Wing or the Resistance X-Wings, and those ones aren't as bad as that red TIE Interceptor. They still just give me kind of a weird mixed feeling. And I do get that they are accurate to their source material, which was the movies and shows they were based on. I just think from a collection standpoint, it's just a little bit weird. And all of that stuff can also be applied to this ATST, except this ATST actually kind of does it in a pretty good way. Really, it's mainly just themed to be a old rustic ATST, and then the left leg is painted red, and I think that actually does look pretty cool, but still the idea of it just being a recolored ATST does still kind of throw me off a little bit. Coming in at our number 12 spot, we have 75312 Boba Fett Starship or Slave One. This set was released in August of 2021. It has 2 minifigures, it has 593 pieces, and it retailed for $50. Now I'm gonna be honest, I think this set is very overrated, and I don't really know where the hype comes from. I do appreciate how the model is very accurate in terms of shape and the amount of detail and the colors, and it does have a pretty nice feature where you can actually stand the set up on this little cart it comes with, but the fact that it's so small is just absolutely ridiculous. It is impressive that they packed almost 600 pieces into this tiny little build. It's just the size is so unappealing. There's been many Slave ones that have released over the years, but I think the best one to compare it to is the one that came out in 2006, which has 537 pieces, and it also retailed for $50, and it also included 5 minifigures. Now, I do realize that this set was based off of the scene in The Mandalorian where Boba Fett comes and fights the stormtroopers, and obviously the 2006 version is based off of episode 5, although they easily could have included Fennec Shand and a stormtrooper, or maybe even 2 stormtroopers and just not included the cart that it came with. And then back to the 2006 model, you can clearly tell that it's way bigger than the 2021 model. In fact, it's actually almost twice the size in actual scale, but it has less pieces. pieces, which doesn't make any sense. I feel like Lego was honestly trying to cheap out a little bit and only use small pieces to make this set, and it did reward in some ways. Like I said, it is pretty detailed and the shape is pretty accurate. It's just the size is just absolutely awful, and it only comes with 2 minifigures, so that doesn't back it up either. But a set that is backed up by good minifigures, coming in at our number 11 spot, we have 75361 Spider Tank. Now, I'm not gonna say a whole lot about this set as it's not releasing until August, so it still has about 3 more months until it releases, but going off of the official images, we can tell that it does look pretty interesting, to say the least. It is going to include 526 pieces and retail for $50, making its price per piece only 9.5 cents, and it's going to include 3 minifigures. 2 of them are very nice. We have Baby Yoda, Bo-Katan, and the Mandalorian, and the Mandalorian is an updated version, and he also has the updated Darksaber, and the Bo-Katan is also very detailed with printed arms in a really nice blue and gray color scheme, and from what I know, the Baby Yoda is the same Baby Yoda that we have been getting the past 2 years. Now, the actual Spider Tank I think looks really interesting. It has kind of a steampunk theme to it, which I really like. It doesn't really look like something that would come out of Star Wars, and if you've watched The Mandalorian Season 3, which I assume most of you have, but if you haven't, obviously spoilers ahead, I think the scene that this Spider Tank is shown in is really nice. It has kind of this mysterious aesthetic to it, and although the Lego set does not include that little spider cyborg dude that drives the tank, I think it's a pretty solid overall set. Moving on to our number 10 spot, we have 75346 Pirate Snub Fighter. At the time of making this video, this set is releasing in about a week from now. It has 2 minifigures, it has 285 pieces, and it's going to retail for $35. So obviously that is a pretty bad price. I think it should be $30. I think most people can agree with me on that. Now, the 2 pirate minifigures this set comes with are pretty nice, even though one of them is a named character and they both have identical head prints, the named character being Vane, and in the show he does have a little bit of a lighter skin tone, so I think Lego should have just gone ahead and made the head print a little bit lighter, just so there could be some difference between him and the pilot. As for the ship goes, I think it does look pretty accurate. I know that in my reveal video I compared it to the concept art images and I said it didn't look as accurate as it could be, and there is still some truth to that. I think it should be a little bit wider. I think it's a little bit too long and too slim looking, as in the show I think they were a little bit wider in the front, but other than that there's really nothing more to say about the set. Really the only bad thing is that it is very overpriced. Moving on to our number 9 spot, we have 75319 The Armorer's Mandalorian Forge. This set was released in September of 2021 and it retired in December of 2022, just a few months ago. It has 3 minifigures, 2 of them are exclusive to this set. It also has 258 pieces and it retailed for $30. And I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the build first. There's really not much to see here. It's just the Mandalorian Forge that we see in season 1. I mean, it's a nice little play set for kids, but there's nothing special about the build to me. But clearly the main draw for this set is obviously the minifigures, specifically Bo-Katan, Kryze, and Paz Vizsla. These figures already had a lot of popularity, and then once this set retired, the value just shot up. It's only been 4 months and Paz Vizsla is already going for around $50, and Bo-Katan Kryze is already going for around $30, and the set itself is already going for northwards of $80. So that alone should really tell you how popular these figures are. And I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. These are some of the most unique figures we've ever gotten, especially with Kryze's helmet and Paz Vizsla's torso piece. Moving on to our number 8 spot, we have 75318 The Child. This set was released in October of 2020. It has 1 minifigure, it has 1073 pieces, and it retails for $90. I don't really have any notable opinions on this set. I do have to say that it is a pretty good deal, as the price per piece is only 8.4 cents, and I do think they did a good job of recreating Baby Yoda. It's just this set doesn't really intrigue me that much, and honestly Baby Yoda doesn't really intrigue me that much as a character, but I did put it at the number 8 spot because nevertheless it is pretty impressive, and I think they really did do a good job at accurately recreating him. Moving on to our number 7 spot, we have 75267 Mandalorian Battle Pack. This set was released in January of 2020 and it retired in December of 2021. It comes with 4 minifigures, it has 102 pieces, and it retailed for $15, as all battle packs used to back then. And I guess you could kind of say this is the updated version of the Mandalorian Battle Pack that we got back in 2011, I believe, except this one isn't as useful when it comes to army building as much as that one was, but that doesn't really matter because the figures that come in this set are really top tier. I mean, these are definitely some of the most unique and coolest looking Mandalorians or just Lego Star Wars figures we've ever gotten, and let alone it was in a $15 set. The speeder and the little build that it comes with is kind of whatever. It's really just obviously the main draw is these figures. My favorite one personally being the blue one that has purple markings on his head. I just think these figures are great and you can use them in multiple different ways, and I think it's a must-have for your collection. Moving on to our number 6 spot, we have 75325 The Mandalorian's N1 Starfighter. This set was released in June of 2022 and it obviously has not retired yet. It has 4 minifigures, 412 pieces, and it retails for $60. Now first off, I do have to say the price is a bit of a stretch. There's really no excuse for it being $60 with 412 pieces. I get that it does have 4 minifigures, but 2 of them are pretty small. They're actually not even really figures. It's just Baby Yoda and then a droid. So technically you get about 2 figures, or 2.5, however you want to say it. I really think this should have been $50, so it's really disappointing that they bumped it up $10 extra, and even $50 is still a little bit of a stretch for 412 pieces. But speaking of the minifigures, like I said, they are all exclusive to this set except for Baby Yoda. There's really not a lot of notable differences in this version of Mando compared to the other ones. And then Pelimoto is a pretty decent figure. There's nothing really notable about her. She has no leg printing, so that is a little bit disappointing for $60, except she does have a pretty nice belt piece. And the minifigures aside, I think the set actually does look really good. The pieces and greebling flow so perfectly. I think they really did a great job at capturing what this ship is supposed to be. A sort of remodeled old and rusty starfighter, and again, they did a great job at capturing that. The detail is amazing along the body and the wings, and the ship overall just has a really nice shape and looks very sleek and fast as it's supposed to be. Although $60 is still a massive stretch for this set, I think if you haven't got the set, you need to wait till it goes on sale, if it hasn't gone on sale in your area already, because it's not very hard to find this for a lower price. Moving on to our number 5 spot, we have 75292, the Razor Crest. This set was released in September of 2020, and it has still not retired yet. It has 5 minifigures, one of them is exclusive. It also has 1023 pieces, and it retails for $140. And this also was another one of the sets that was affected by the LEGO price increases, as its original retail price was actually $130. And to top it off, this set is an Amazon exclusive. Now, I do have to say, I think this set is a bit overrated, as I think the reason it gets so much hype is just because it is an Amazon exclusive, and because everyone thought that it was going to retire last year in December, and it didn't. But nevertheless, I do think it looks pretty decent for what it is. It is the only Razor Crest besides the UCS one that LEGO has made, which does definitely make this a better alternative to the UCS one if you want the Razor Crest that bad and you're not willing to spend $600, which most of you probably aren't. The 5 minifigures aren't really anything too special. The most notable ones to me is obviously the exclusive one, which is Grief Karga, and then that Imperial Scout Trooper, which looks really nice with the black arms. I absolutely love these figures, and I guess you could kind of say he's exclusive too, because the only other set he was available in was the Advent Calendar, and that is now retired, so he's only available in this set unless you buy him directly. And then it also includes the same version of Mando that was included in the ATST Raider. Now, I think the build is pretty good, although there are quite a few stickers on it. I really like how the ship opens up pretty well and you have plenty of access to the inside. It's a great playability feature, and they tried their best to include as many features of the actual ship that they could inside of this small model, like the cockpit and Mando's bed in the back. So overall, the ship is pretty good. It has a lot of great features, and I think they did a really great job at designing the shape of it in this small form. Although the price is just pretty bad, you can kind of tell there's a theme with these Mandalorian sets, as most of them are pretty overpriced. I mean, it has 1,023 pieces and only 5 minifigures, and it's now retailing for $140, and even $130 was still just way overpriced. This would have been an amazing, maybe a $120, at best a $110 set, but they really did do their best to stretch the price point, and then they just stretched it even more with the price increases. Moving on to our number 4 spot, we have 75348 Mandalorian Fang Fighter versus TIE Interceptor. Along with the Pirate Snub Fighter that I talked about earlier, this set is also releasing in about a week from now, as it comes out on May 1st. It is going to have 4 minifigures, have 957 pieces, and retail for $100. And right off the bat, compared to most of the other sets on this list, that is a great deal, as the price per piece is only 10.4 cents. So obviously, as you can tell, this is a 2-in-1 set. You get the TIE Interceptor and then the Mandalorian Fang Fighter, but obviously the draw for this set is that TIE Interceptor, as it is the first TIE Interceptor LEGO has made that has been Imperial themed since 2006. And people have been wanting LEGO to remake a TIE Interceptor for so long, and now we're finally getting it in almost 17 years. Although it's not a standalone set, I think we'll all take it. The Mandalorian Fang Fighter, on the other hand, looks pretty good. It's kind of lackluster compared to the TIE Interceptor. I mean, it's pretty accurate to what we see in this show. I mean, there's not really much else they could have done. And then we have the minifigures. We get Mando again with that new Darksaber piece, and then we get a new Mandalorian figure that is supposed to pilot the Fang Fighter, and then we obviously get a TIE pilot and then an Imperial Astromech droid. I think the Imperial Astromech droid was a bit of a bad pick for this set. I think just a normal stormtrooper, or spoilers ahead, one of the new stormtroopers that we saw in the last episode of Mandalorian Season 3 should have been included, but I think most of us are kind of forced to be content because we are finally getting a new TIE Interceptor. Moving on to our number 3 spot, we have 75315 Imperial Light Cruiser. This set was released in August of 2021, and it retired just a few months ago in December of 2022. It has 6 minifigures, one of them being exclusive. It has 1,336 pieces, and at the end of its lifespan, it retailed for $170. And this was the last set on this list that was infected by the price increases, as its original original retail price was $160, which in my opinion obviously are both overpriced. I think this would have been a perfect, I mean absolutely perfect $150 set, but always they just have to stretch it. The minifigures are alright. I think it's actually not the best minifigure selection. Really the only notable ones are the Dart Trooper and then obviously Moff Gideon, which is clearly going to be a valuable figure as he's already going for about $90 alone. The other minifigures are kind of lackluster. They're really not very special to this set. They really just fit the scene that it's based off of, and that's that. If you don't know, this set is based off the Arquitens class light cruiser, and for those Clone Wars fans, this is a pretty great set as you can mod it very easily with just putting some red pieces on it, as people already have, and it's just really great how you can do that. To the new Star Wars fans that have only watched The Mandalorian, you might think this is a new ship, but it is not. And then obviously the build does open up to reveal the bridge on the inside if you want to play around with the figures. Now I almost put this set in the number 4 spot just because I think the price is pretty bad and the minifigures are pretty lackluster, but the Arquitens class is one of my favorite cruisers, so I had to put it at the number 3 spot. Moving on to our number 2 spot, we have 75311 Imperial Armored Marauder. Now many of you might not agree that this is the second best Lego Mandalorian set, but I definitely do. This set was released in August of 2021 and retired in December of 2022. It has 4 minifigures, all of them are exclusive to this set. It also has 478 pieces, and get this, it only retailed for $40, making its price per piece 8.4 cents and having 4 exclusive minifigures. So that right there really should explain to you why I think this is the second best Mandalorian set. Looking at the figures, they are all amazing. You get 2 normal stormtroopers and then a new version of Grief Karga, and then you get that incredible looking Imperial Artillery Trooper with the yellow markings. I love the prints on it. I think it just stands out and it's kind of in your face, and I really like figures that are like that. The build is also really nice. It's really accurate to the scene that it's based on, and the scale is also pretty accurate, and it does have some pretty good features. But overall, this set is definitely a bang for your buck compared to all the other Mandalorian sets. The minifigures are great, the build is great, and it's a perfect army builder and a perfect set for kids as well. And now to my number 1 pick for the best Lego Star Wars The Mandalorian set. Who could have guessed it? We have 75331 UCS Razor Crest. This set was released in October of 2022, so just a few months ago. It has 4 minifigures, 3 of them are exclusive to this set. It has 6,187 pieces, and it retails for $600. I ranked this set as the number 1 Lego Star Wars set from 2022, so clearly it's going to be the number 1 Lego Star Wars The Mandalorian set. I mean, it's a minifigure scale Razor Crest that's a UCS set, so obviously it is going to have the max amount of detail and the max amount of accuracy. I mean, the build is just absolutely phenomenal, especially compared to the other sets on this list. I mean, it doesn't even compare to the other sets on this list. It's just so high above them. I mean, if some of the other sets were in S tier, like this would be a tier above S tier. Like this set just doesn't compare. Now, if we put the build aside, I think the minifigures could have been a little bit better. All of them are exclusive except for Baby Yoda, but that's kind of a given. Although I think it would have been really cool if they included 2 scout troopers and 2 speeders to match the scene in the last episode of Mandalorian Season 1. I think that would have made this set a lot better, even though it is practically perfect. But yeah, I mean, I think most of you probably assumed this would be the number 1 pick when you clicked on this video. And speaking of this video, we are now at the end of it. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing like I said earlier. And if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see them on the end screen right now.